What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to another In the Rack with Swimhack. So we are 11 weeks out from the next meet, December 11th, 2021. It's going to be in Orange, Texas. It's going to be an APF sanctioned meet. We're going to do bench only. So this last week was a heavy week, so pretty exciting. This next week, nothing crazy, but it's going to be a lighter week, but we're going back and forth to keep the joints healthy and keep everything recovered. But I'm really excited. I had a couple of PRs, which I'll show you here in just a second in the recap video. But really getting exciting. Everything is clicking right. Hopefully we can keep things together and make this a really good training cycle. But to those of you who are new to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You're going to get weekly recaps of my training on the road to 700 pounds on bench press and beyond. And we're going to have some full power training as well. I like to throw little tidbits in there of little factual information about myself and kind of my training habits and my eating habits and just family time, which I value a lot. And obviously what I do in my training and how I recover and kind of how I bounce back from injuries and things like that. So if you guys are new to the channel, definitely go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel. To the OGs that have been here from the beginning, I think we're like 12,500 or so subscribers. My goodness, I am humbled every day when I see that. Thank you for spending your time and trusting me to entertain you and to give you factual information about lifting and life and just kind of things like that. I really do appreciate it. I never take it for granted. You guys make me who I am on the online world and in YouTube and everything like that. So I definitely appreciate you guys. I know there's a lot of channels that have millions of followers, but I don't relate to those channels because those channels can't relate to their followers like I can with you guys. So I really do you guys have a special place in my heart because I'm able to reach out to you guys. You guys are able to email me and talk to me on a one-to-one basis, and we do that all the time, and I don't take that for granted. So please keep doing that. We're going to have Q&As later in the video, so I'll share with those to you guys. But you guys go ahead and let's go and jump into the recap video. I have some exciting stuff to show you guys. I was telling you about the PRs, and here we go. So let's check it out. All right, day one, my bench and upper accessories. Getting tight here. We have got 535 on the bar for a double. This significantly higher than last week. Obviously, we're taking kind of not a pseudo deload from one week to the next. Solid pause, powered through. Tight again, power through. Solid. Very excited. Happy that it's moving this fast. Obviously, we're about 100 pounds less on my 2-rep there, but moving on, I've got some speed bench with 468, 3 sets of 3. Showing you one set here. Boom. Feeling good. Get a little extra volume in after my heavy sets. Moving on to some banded bench. This is 275 pounds with about 52 or so pounds of tension at the top each side. Right about 100 pounds or so total for a triple, moving up to 341 plus that same 100 or so pounds of band tension at the top. Really works on the sticking point. So right here in the middle, the bands start really getting tighter, helps with the lockout, helps with driving through the whole range of motion, which is great for building up that heavy bench. And so last set here is going to be 407 pounds for that same 100 or so pounds at the top. And it actually got faster and felt better as it went on. Obviously, I'm fatigued from my main bench sets, but still happy with that. Moving on, I've got some one-arm lat pull-downs just to kind of isolate each side. Nothing crazy heavy. My back is burned out a little bit from bench, so this is just 50 pounds for a few sets of 15 here. Really working on squeezing and rotating. The rotation actually helps to get a little better range of motion and less impingement on the shoulders. I've noticed on me, and everybody's anatomy is slightly different, and your size and what your flexibility is, things like that can also play a role in this, but being able to rotate like that allows me to really get a good stretch at the top and stay tight the whole range of motion. Switching over, get this other side here. But yeah, I mean, I've noticed if I do straight arm all the way down, kind of like a traditional lat pull down, it really, especially my right shoulder for some reason, it just irritates it. And yes, I can do it, but again, I am in it for the long haul. I want my back to feel great. I want my joints to feel great in whatever muscle group I'm working on. I'm not a believer in pushing past pain. Pain is telling me to stop. If it's discomfort or soreness, that's a whole different ball game. But this, just kind of a little bit words to the wise there, words from the wise, I guess, of how to kind of train through certain accessory movements, things like that. Working on some pec work here. This is 65 pounds for 3 sets of 12. Obviously, you guys have seen me go a hell of a lot heavier than this. I think we're going to stay in this range, probably less than 100 pounds for the duration of the bench cycle until the meet. For a couple of reasons. One is there's no reason to go 160 pounds on flies just because I can. Another thing is I've noticed that in previous cycles I was able to go 150 pounds for dumbbells, but I was tending, and I don't know if there's any correlation between it, but if there is, I'm willing to err on the side of caution between getting pec strains on the really heavy days or at the meet, and I'm wondering if the pec flies were breaking down the muscle tissue a little bit more than it should have. So day 2 here, we've got some squats, just showing you one set here. Squats honestly did not feel that good this week. I think it's just a combination of things. Didn't get a lot of sleep the night before. Plus, I'm not real focused on legs, like I've said in the past. So really just working on, beltless. I've got the knee sleeves on just to keep the joints healthy. But just getting a real solid depth on these, really feeling the weight, and really just keeping some good technique, so that if I do choose to do a full power cycle later on down the road, my legs are ready to go. But 500, keeping everything tight. And we're going to move on. I've got some beltless, strapless, double overhand deadlifts today. And this is working this is 501 pounds here on double overhand, just to warm up. This is just to keep the deadlifts in the mix as well, but also limit the weight because I don't want to be necessarily pulling 750, 800 pounds and trying to bench only meet if I could save some energy. So solid rep there, obviously gone well above that before. Gonna inch it up a little bit today. Gonna go 551. Using my favorite ammonia here. Shout out to Skull Smash Ammonia. And also check them out. Go to their website, and actually it's down below in the description. But they are doing coffee now, and their Strong Start coffee is amazing. Boom, 551, double overhand, not a big deal. I actually thought that was going to be a lot harder than that. So moving on, I've got 396 here for a set of 5 on some upright pendulé rows. Dead stop on the bottom, just so that I'm still staying tight, but I'm definitely not wanting to get a bounce. And these felt fairly heavy. I haven't done those in a while, but decided to go ahead and go up for a triple here. This is 473 for a set of 3. Really working on getting a nice extension at the back there. I want to make sure that I'm getting a lot of weight transferred into the back, but not so much that I'm losing tension. Moving on, day 3, got my shoulders and upper accessories, starting off with some reverse banded bench. This is, I'm not real sure about the weight, but I know it's the purples. I typically get a nice little stretch at the bottom. It's not too crazy. 4 sets of 13 on this. We're just kind of inching it up, each week. This is a back exercise, but it's more of a mobility, stretching, kind of getting the blood flow into the back. It's not a lot of work. If I wanted to do that, I would probably put on the blue bands and really put like 100 pounds of tension on each side. I needed to do some rear delts, flies, and I don't have anything other than dumbbells, and so we went ahead and did banded rear delt flies here for a few sets. Really just working on squeezing that scapula, pulling those rear delts back and just working them. Believe it or not, it doesn't take a lot. Obviously, I can do 400 plus pounds on some of those cable machines with rear delt flies, but doing bands, that tension gets real heavy. All right, so I've got some landmine shoulder presses here, and this is actually serving as a warm-up set, 4 sets of 8 with just 45 pounds plus the bar, so whatever that ends up being. And at this point of the day, even though it doesn't look it on my face, it's a little bit rough because my shoulders are not quite warm. But I'm using this to warm up for a couple of PRs that we're going to see here in just a few minutes. All right, so we got some shoulder shrugs here, got my 75-pound dumbbells, few sets here, and really just working on squeezing at the top. This is a great exercise to really work the traps and that upper lat motion, and definitely around the neck area. I get a lot of stability from that area when everything is tight on the bench. It also helps just with aesthetics. And if you're caring about how your neck size look, those are a great exercise. All right, so moving on to first PR of the day, and PR in a while was 241 for a set of 2 on seated overhead press here. This is definitely heavier than I've been in a while, so I'm just kind of really feeling it, and I'm like pretty excited that I know that I've got another rep in me. Boom, first set down, and went ahead and said, you know, I think I've got maybe 10 or so more pounds. Let's go for 353. My previous best before this for 2 overhead in this fashion is 335. So moving it up 20 pounds to 353. Definitely felt extremely heavy. Shaking a little bit here, just trying to get those stabilizers firing off, but really happy that moved. I don't think I'm going to have to go too much heavier on that here going forward, keeping the shoulders healthy. We got 13 sets of 15 body weight push-ups. Body weight on this particular day was sitting right in the high 290s. We're not really working on so far the full range of motion, but just enough to get some blood flow in there on an off day. 50 pounds here for some tricep extensions. Close grip on some of those push-ups before really helped kind of warm the triceps up. This is we're really working on the muscle, really working on just feeling that weight and just not really blowing the tricep up as much as really just feeling that mind muscle connection. We can hit the triceps hard if we need to, and we do on bench day on day 1, but day 3 is more of an accessory day. Working on some grip work here with this little guy here, and I'll put this down in the description. But my forearms and my elbows tend to give me a little bit of tendonitis later on in the season. I've noticed them kind of flaring up a little bit after heavy bench day, so I've been incorporating this the last month or so, and I've noticed a difference. And this is just basically using one hand to really just get that tension and using the other one to kind of assist with holding it in place so it doesn't slip the other direction. But I work on a few different angles of this, maybe 4 or 5 sets, and it's enough to really fatigue the forearms and the elbows, but it's really helping. You know, jury's still out. We'll see how this whole training cycle feels, but this is something I really think might be very promising on keeping that elbow tendonitis down, which definitely limits me later when I get into the high 600s meet day and things like that. It's a bothersome thing. But we'll let you guys know how this really turns out. Going to do a full review video on this. So this is kind of a rogue setup here. I've got my cables just kind of tied in place around a dumbbell. I'm going to get some actual clips and kind of make it a nice little setup here so it's not, you know, raw cable sitting right there and the length is kind of off. All right, so moving on to my T3 raises with the 20 pounds. Nothing crazy, doesn't need to be super heavy. Obviously, I'm strong enough to do probably 4 or 5 times this weight, but again, this is a shoulder. Notice how I'm retracting my scapula there, pulling back. As the set goes on, it typically gets a little bit more relaxed. I have to remind myself to pull back, but those are a great shoulder recovery session. Got 160 pounds on here on the wide grip lat pull downs, and this is one of a few exercises on back, really just working on squeezing. I like to take my shirt off here, just so that I can see the muscles actually working, see the symmetry, not so much for bodybuilding. This is a neutral grip attachment that I have. I really like this because I can change the grip up, get a few more sets in without it fatiguing either the forearms or the grip. So this really allows me to get a lot of back work in. But as far as being able to see which muscles are firing, I can see where I'm relaxing, where I'm not. And it's less about how it looks as much as how it feels. So this really helps me to kind of make sure that what I'm feeling is actually what I'm seeing. And so moving on, I've got some straight arm lat pull downs, just standing up, really working the weight, slow and controlled, 50 pounds, nothing crazy. But it's enough that by this time of the day, my back, at this time of the week actually, my back has really been taxed. I'm really feeling it. So it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of weight to light it up. It's really just about blood flow, recovery, and really starting to think by this time of the day that next week I want to be recovered as we go into the next set on bench. Moving on, I've got some closer grip, neutral grip, lat pull down, same 50 pounds, few sets here just to close out the day, but feeling good. Really am feeling good. This recap is done. just a few days after this, and my shoulders are definitely still feeling a little bit fatigued, but I think we are going to be great for our next bench session. All right, so pumped up, man. I am pumped up. Now, mind you, those were PRs with overhead press. Now, the reason I'm excited, PR is a PR, no doubt. But the reason I'm excited about overhead press being a PR is because my shoulders have always been bulletproof. I've always been able to press a lot with my shoulders. But the transfer from overhead press to bench really isn't a direct transfer, but the transfer of strong shoulders and stability is very much key to bench press. And one thing I've noticed in my training cycles in the past probably 2 years or so is that when I lose it, it's normally about halfway up, and it's not so much a back, pec, or even a tricep weakness. It's more of a stabilizer weakness, and it's really just because I'm coming off the chest with so much power that if I don't hit that groove immediately the right way in a very technical fashion, I'm going to get out of the groove. And it's basically, instead of coming straight up, let's say, it's obviously not a straight line, but let's say I'm having to press in a straight line. If I go off just a little bit, now the faster I'm going, it's like a car. If I turn the wheel a little bit, even if I'm going, 100 miles an hour, that car is going to veer off very much out of the way. Now, if you're going 20 miles an hour, you're only going to veer off the road maybe, a couple inches. But you're going 100 miles an hour, you're going to probably be several feet maybe off the road completely. Now imagine that being the barbell. If you come off extremely fast off your chest and you don't have a perfect line to where you're trying to go, you're going to lose it. And if you can't correct it fast enough or strong enough, you're not going to make the lift, or it's going to be extremely difficult and you could have done a lot more weight. So with that in mind, that's kind of the theory behind what I'm doing with my overhead pressing, is I'm shocking the body a little bit. I'm not going to go too much heavier, like I said, because there's no reason to go. I mean, I could overhead press 400 plus pounds, which is very humbling to say, but doing a 400 pound overhead press is not going to equal a 600 pound, 700 pound, 800 pound bench. It doesn't equal it's not the direct relationship. But strong shoulders, being able to overhead press, let's say, 300 plus pounds, and then backing down and doing sets of the 200s or the 185s and being able to crank out some hypertrophy and really building those shoulders up, and doing a lot of shoulder supersets and T3 raises, things like that, are just going to make that a whole area, the rotator cuff, is just going to be extremely strong and very versatile and able to really just withstand whatever I throw at it. So what I'm hoping is going to happen is that when I lose that groove, if I lose that groove anytime in my training or on my max lift days, like on the meet day, I'll be able to recover from it. Or if I don't even need it, it will help me to finish a stronger press. So that's kind of the theory. You guys stick around the whole training cycle. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition and see if it actually helps and works. Worst case scenario, I just had healthier shoulders. So we're winning somehow. But continuing to train the weak spots, obviously my weak spot right now is going to be what I would consider my midpoint, and that is about 6 or so inches up. Not seeing it really be the case right now because we're not heavy enough. But as we get into the 600s, we might start seeing a little slowdown right here. And that's where I'm trying to focus right now with those bands, is to really just focus on firing off the chest and exploding all the way through the lift and not allowing myself to coast. I'm very, very strong, and I know that, but it is easy to kind of get in this mundane kind of lackadaisy attitude when you're just going through the motions sometimes and you're not really focusing on intent. The intent is forced when you have bands or some sort of resistance that's pulling that barbell back down. You're having to forcefully, every single inch of that range of motion, force that barbell to continue to move. You can't just stop and let your momentum coast through, because it's going to eventually slow down and slap back down on you. But so with all that said, very, very exciting. This week coming up is not going to be anything crazy. I'm going to probably do some reps with like in the mid 400s just to kind of keep things going. It's enough to basically serve as a deload. So I'm not having to take a 4th week every deload. But it does split my training days in half. If I have 10 weeks left, I have basically 5 more heavy days, which is a little bit crazy to think about because we're sitting at the 535 range. We have 5 days to get upwards into the mid 6s, 5 training days to get, this 10 weeks to get up into the mid 6s and to be able to peak properly and hit something in the meet, and we'll see what happens. But with all that said, very excited to share this with you guys. I never take it for granted, like I said earlier. I really appreciate sharing this with you guys. It's not an exact science myself. I can give information to you guys. I can tell you about what I'm doing, but really it's case by case with every one of you that's out there. And you have to find what is working for you and continue to make that work for you until you stall in progress. And then you have to tweak something. And it just depends on who you are and what you're doing of what you tweak. I'm hoping that my videos every single week, as much as I can get them out, I know I've been slacking on you guys for last year. I got to make up a lot for lost time. But I'm hoping that my videos will help you to think about your own training at whatever age you are or whatever experience level you are. You're able to at least kind of look at my training and go, okay, he ran into this problem. What did he do to fix it? Or did he stress out too much about it? There's little things that hopefully you can take from just my actions and less about what I'm talking about and actually seeing how I react to things that hopefully can make you react better to your own situation. Because I see a lot of people, they just get anxious a lot, or their mental state, they get real high on everything, and then all of a sudden they have this real big low. I keep a pretty steady, medium. I would like to hope that's the way at least it looks. But I feel like that keeps me in check. I'm able to be a little smarter about things, not get too high and not get too low. Now, not to mention, you miss a lift or you have a bad training day, you're going to feel a little bit of a low, and that is natural. And if you're going to hit a PR, like this week, I hit a couple PRs, I was on a little bit of a high, but the high is short-lived and the lows are short-lived. So you have to learn to just keep that medium little pace and just keep a neutral outlook on things and just keep on trucking and keep that momentum going to get to your goal, no matter how long it takes. But with that said, I told you guys that I had some Q&As, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into those. We have some questions from Instagram this week. So the first one is from USA Eric PL, and he asked, what do you do for grip strength? So I'm glad he asked that. So basically, I don't do a lot of direct grip work. Now, mind you, I say that carefully because lately I've been doing a little more grip work because I'm doing double overhand grip with deadlifts, but I'm not really working on grip as much. It is obviously working on grip, but my focus is to do deadlifts, but limit myself to a weight that I can only hang on to with double overhand. So I'm gonna answer the question in a way that is for if I'm training grip strength, what I do versus what I'm doing right now, because I'm definitely not training forearms or anything like that to have a better grip. I feel like my grip is pretty bulletproof. Obviously, I can hang on to 600 pounds double overhand with deadlift. So I don't think grip is a problem, but I'm also not going for any kind of grip competitions right now. But if I'm working on grip, the thing that you definitely should probably get is a bucket of sand. And you just stick your arm up into there, maybe about that far, and you just move around. And that will help any kind of tendonitis if you have it. I've learned very quickly, along with some other stuff that I've been doing with that grip trainer, which I'll tell you guys more about in the coming weeks. I actually do a whole video on that because I really feel like that's helped me a lot, but I want to be 100% certain, because if you guys know me at all, I'm not going to bullshit you, and I'm not going to tell you something works if it doesn't. And I'm not going to get paid from any company out there just to tell you something is good or bad or whatever. I'm going to actually use it. And if I feel like it's working, I'm going to go ahead and promote it. Now, if they want to pay me for that, I'll take it, but I'm not going to promote anything just for $1. I'm going to make sure it works. I'm going to make sure that you guys can trust my word on that. But back to the question. For what I do for grip strength, honestly, is if I'm just, let's say, focusing on powerlifting, do your deadlifts like you normally would, and then at the last rep, actually hold on to that bar for as long as you can. I've done it in the past. If you go back maybe a year or so, you'll see where I'm working up to the 2100 and 2200 pound full power meets, and road to 2200, road to 2100, those kind of meets, where I'm basically doing my deadlift days, and then I hold on to it for about 30, 45 seconds afterwards. It's pretty excruciating, but it builds up your calluses and it builds up your grip for sure. Do that, work on pull-ups. If you can hang, hold on to, and I would honestly hang on to something that's a little slicker, because it'll actually force you to not rely on the friction to hold on, but rather your actual grip strength. So I know, like up here, I've got a couple things that they don't have like that grip tape on them. So I'm definitely gonna slip if I lose my grip. But if I have like the grip tape, it actually is helping me to hold on. So it's really kind of cheating. But nothing crazy for grip strength. I don't actually train it, like I said, directly, but that's what I would do if you're trying to work for your grip. And definitely shoot me an email, swimhack@gmail.com, with any of your questions, but specifically to that question, if I did not answer it the way that maybe you thought, and shoot me a direct message on Instagram, or here, just leave a comment. But I'm going to jump on to the next question. And this is from Big ASHCK. So it might be Big Ash CK, and also on Instagram. What is your typical misspoke. What is your typical rep set scheme for back work? So that kind of is normally what my coach programs a lot of my stuff for me. So we normally go between the 12 and 15 rep range. It can drop down into 8s and somewhere in there. What I have been doing lately actually is taking whatever I'm given, and I normally I'm going to do whatever the set is, or the number of sets. But I normally start with about 8 reps, and I try to go off a feel. And if I get to 10 reps or 12 reps or 15 reps and it starts burning, because on my lats, I will actually burn out quicker than on like rows. It's just because I have a little bit, it's different feel for me. It's kind of like with hamstrings. My hamstrings on hamstring curls will do the same thing. They'll burn out quicker than like my quads will. And it's not so much that they're weaker. It's just that I actually build up a little more lactic acid in that muscle while I'm working out. And so I have to be a little careful with higher reps or heavy weight with with super lat pull downs, super heavy lat pull downs, or hamstring curls and things like that. So I typically go off a feel. And so I like to stick between 8 and 15 reps for maybe 3 to 4 sets. Now, mind you, I do a lot of back work. So I do all the different grips that you saw me doing earlier on the recap, with wide grip, neutral grip, close grip, underhand grip, and then of course that's just on like cables. Then I do one arm with cable, then I'll do rows, then I can do dumbbell rows or chest supported incline rows or pendulay rows. I mean, there's all sorts of rows that you can do, but I like to just switch it up. And if you notice that I'm always doing some sort of back exercise on every single day, and that's just how I train my back, because my upper back can recover a lot faster. It's a big muscle group, and it can recover from all these different stimuli that I'm throwing at it. And of course it transfers directly to bench. Have a big back and you have a big bench, or at least a strong back, you have a strong bench. But I appreciate your questions, you guys. I'm going to try to answer these questions every single week as long as I'm getting them. YouTube, you guys are slipping a little bit. You're definitely having great suggestions for future videos, so I'm going to keep those and start working through some of them. But if you have questions here on YouTube, definitely drop them down in the comments. I want to go ahead and just scan through those and make sure I'm answering you guys' questions. You can definitely follow me over on Instagram if you haven't already heard me mention that a couple times, at Swimhack. Shoot me a DM over there. I'm available, I don't want to say 24 hours a day, because I do have a life and I do like to make sure that I'm a balanced person with my family and everything else that I'm doing in life. But I typically will answer pretty much within a day, as long as it's a valid question and it's not something crazy. But you can definitely shoot me an email, swimhack@gmail.com. You can reach out through my website, benchonly.com, which, shameless plug over there. If you guys do not have a program, or you're looking for a solid program to follow, I've had 1,500 plus people purchase my programs over there and had great feedback. You can definitely check out the surveys that I've posted, and I can always provide more of those with you, because I don't want to sugarcoat things. Things are definitely difficult with the programs, but they definitely work. So check those programs out, and if you want to support me in any way, buy a t-shirt from me. My wife and I make those, or you could definitely get a program. But that is going to bring this recap video to an end for this week. Definitely excited to share it with you guys. It's getting exciting. I say that every single week, but see, that's the way I live life. I'm excited to get out of bed in the morning. I'm excited to live life. Lifting is not everything to me, but it's really good when you have a good lifting day. And honestly, I live, for the day. And so when I have a bad day, it's just that one day. I can wake up the next day and we can change things. So I don't really get down and out. So I want to, message to you guys out there, because I know there's a lot of social anxiety, depression, stuff like that. And not to discount that, because some of those things are pretty hefty and pretty, weighing on a lot of people's minds. But working out definitely helps get that dopamine release. You just get those chemicals going, those endorphins going. And it really helps me quite a bit to just, ward off a lot of stress that's going on in life. Because I don't claim to go through the most hard things in life. But I know a lot of you guys are going through some shit, straight up. And, if you guys need anything at all, help at all, reach out to me. I'll talk to you. I've had people call me up that were contemplating suicide. just marital issues. Not that I'm an expert on anything like that, but sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. And I don't mean to get cheesy on you guys, but I do care about you. And I know there's a lot of people going through some stuff right now. The world is kind of crappy. Just look at the news, and I know half of that stuff is just BS, but some of it's real. And it also, it's gross. It's stuff that's just going on. It's disgusting how people are treating each other. And I don't mean to get cheesy, like I said, but again, it's life. So if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, feel free to comment, reach out to me. You make it private. We don't have to make it public or anything like that. But I'm here for you guys. But again, thank you for sharing this video with your friends. Like I said, if you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. We could just go back and forth with the thumb down, thumb up. But definitely share it with your friends. If you like the information and you want me to put more of this stuff out, like I said, I'm gonna be doing a lot of how-to videos and some other different training style videos. I've got one that I'm working on right now. I had a client come down, and I've got the finishing touches on that particular video. I'm gonna have some different interactions and interviews along with that video. I'm going to wrap up all that and post it up. I think you guys will really enjoy. It's a one-on-one session with me and a client of mine to see how I coach and how we go through adversities and things like that they're going through, and ultimately a success story that they hit a lifetime PR after being a certain age for a while and training a certain way, really tough. But excited to bring that to you guys. It's a really big undertaking to kind of pull all these video feeds together. Make it all professionally looking for you guys, but stay tuned for that. Again, if you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.